What's going on, guys? We are live. It's been a little bit since the last time I went live here. We're going to be talking all about the three types of fishing line: mono, fluoro, and then I got braid. We're going to be discussing all those different types of lines. Just a disclaimer, everything, like for example, because of how my phone is set up, everything's going to be backwards, but just keep that in mind. It's going to be flipped. So yeah, I'm just going to wait for people to get on here. Wait for people to get onto the chat here. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick, and while I wait for people to get on here, and then we're going to get this discussion underway. So I will be right back.
Well, Freya must have pooped out on you.
I'm live. I'm dead. I'm dead. You're live.
I'll be live.
All right, so fishing line. So we're gonna jump right into this. So fishing line is the most important thing, I would say, besides your hook quality on your baits, because your fishing line is literally the connection between you and that fish. And there's really three main types of fishing line in bass fishing. There is a fourth one called hybrid copolymer. I hate that stuff. I don't use it, so we're not going to talk about it. But we're going to be talking about the three main lines that you would be using in bass fishing, which is monofilament, fluorocarbon, and braid. And each one has their own unique properties that is very unique to what technique you're throwing, what bait you're throwing, how high you want that bait to go in the water column, how low you want that bait to go in the water column. Line diameter, pound test, there's a lot of different things. Stretchability, all that stuff that we will be discussing in today's live stream. So the very first line that we're going to be talking about here and discussing is monofilament. So right here, this is my favorite mono to use. It's more of a low-end mono, but it's a Zebco OmniFlex. And I know it's reversed because of the camera, but it's a 12-pound Zebco OmniFlex monofilament. Kind of a low-end mono. It's some of the cheapest stuff you can get. But I've been using it for years and I haven't had a problem with it yet. So monofilament is number one thing you're going to notice is that it's going to be your cheapest line. For example, if I were to get, let's say this spool of 12-pound monofilament cost me about $3, and that's 700 yards. 250, I need that light. 250 yards of 14-pound fluorocarbon. Okay, this is Berkeley Vanish fluorocarbon. This whole entire spool right here cost me $14. So you're getting monofilament for a fraction of the price of other high-end lines. So it's definitely going to be your cheapest line. It's also the most common line you're going to find. If you buy a rod and reel from Walmart and it's already pre-spooled with line, chances are it's going to be pre-spooled with this stuff right here, monofilament. Another thing about monofilament that's the biggest property that it has is that it is stretchy. It is the stretchiest fishing line that you can buy. Like, I'm flexing this stuff. It's not like a rubber band effect, but it is very, very stretchy. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. We're going to explain that. So the stretchability in monofilament, a sec, I need a drink of this. Excuse me. The stretchability in monofilament can be a good thing. Especially for biggest example I can give you guys right off the top of my head is treble hook baits. If you're fishing a treble hook bait, and let's say you're fishing, let's say a crankbait, just a regular crankbait, like a square bill crankbait, and you're reeling in that square bill and you get that hit, and you set the hook with monofilament, you're not going to drive the hook as deep into the mouth as you would braided line, because braided line has no stretch. So that stretch can help you in a certain way. If you're going to set the hook with a crankbait with braid, you're going to rip that hook right out of their mouth because there's no stretch to absorb that. It's also a good shock absorber, monofilament is. I'm chewing a piece of gum right now and it's getting really annoying. Here. There we go. But it can get really, really, it's really, really good for situations where you're fishing a moving bait. Not so good in situations where you're fishing on the bottom or anything like that. It's also the sensitivity. It is the most least sensitive line because of that stretch. So when you get that bite, you're not going to feel it as strong as you would on monofilament, when you could be feeling it a lot stronger on fluorocarbon or braid. So it's very, very non-sensitive line. Monofilament is also great because it floats, so it's really great for topwater fishing. And that's probably the key situation. That's about the only thing I use monofilament for, is topwater fishing. Topwater fishing with monofilament is great because it helps when your baits, so you're not going to get tangled up with the hooks. It also helps keep that bait on the top of the water because it is a floating line. It sinks a lot slower than fluorocarbon does. So that is going to help you out really, really good. Things I would not use mono with is stuff like, let's say, a jig. I like braided line because it doesn't have that stretch. I'll get into that in a minute. But things I would not throw with monofilament would be stuff like jigs with that weed guard, because you need a really hard hook set that's going to be hard to get with mono because of the stretch. Frog fishing. Again, you need to set the hook very, very hard. Not very good for monofilament because of that stretch factor. It's great for fishing crankbaits if you want to keep that crankbait higher in the water column. I generally don't. I like to keep my crankbaits down a little bit, so I fish mine on fluorocarbon. Monofilament is also great with baits like spoons and blade baits, because if you want that blade bait to have a slower rate of fall, then monofilament's great because it's going to want to keep that bait a little more up in the water column. Same with flutter spoons and jigging spoons. If you want a slower flutter on the fall, monofilament can be great for you. I also use monofilament as leader when I'm fishing braided line if I'm throwing a topwater bait. Really, the only topwater bait that I throw on braided line that requires a mono leader would probably be a buzzbait, because buzzbaits get tangled all the time, and monofilament really helps that. Also, it's a good floating line. It's also the thickest line diameter that you can buy. So if I were to buy 12-pound fluorocarbon, or 12-pound braid, it's going to be about a quarter as thin as 12-pound monofilament. It'll be like around the diameter of maybe 4-pound test monofilament. So yeah, very, very chunky line. It is very good for abrasion resistance, so fishing around rocks, docks, it's great for that stuff because it can handle nicks and dings a lot better than braid. But yeah, there's a lot of good things about monofilament. I generally don't use mono unless I'm topwater fishing or fishing a blade bait or a spoon, but still really, really great. Now let's move into fluorocarbon. Now right here I have my favorite fluorocarbon. This is Berkeley Vanish fluorocarbon. This is 14-pound fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon looks a lot like mono, but it has a lot of different properties. We're going to start with stretch. Monofilament, or fluorocarbon has probably half the stretch that mono has. So it's very, very, it's a lot less stretchy than mono, which can be a good thing when you're fishing. I like to fish this stuff on, most of my moving baits are thrown on fluorocarbon. So spinner baits, chatter baits, lipless cranks, square bill cranks, deep diamond crankbaits, all that good stuff, I like to throw on fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon sinks, so you're going to get your bait to go deeper into the water column. It's 100% invisible. I like Berkeley Vanish because their invisibility factor. Underwater, fluorocarbon has the same refractive index, or very, very close to water. So when you drop that thing in the water, it basically disappears. I like it because it's a lot more sensitive than mono, so you're going to feel your bites a lot better because fluorocarbon is more dense, also allowing it to sink faster. It's great. It's not very great for topwater fishing aspects because it's going to keep your, let's say you're fishing a topwater popper, it's going to get that popper to go down into the water column a little bit because it is a sinking line. It's heavy. It's going to want to pull that bait down. Fluorocarbon also offers you the highest abrasion resistance of any line. It's very, very tough, very, very tangly line. So it's going to be a lot more, it's going to handle up along rocks and docks a lot better than monofilament or braid would. So fluorocarbon is definitely great in that aspect. A lot of people like to throw their Texas rigs on it, their jigs, all that good stuff on it. I generally don't. I like to keep this more of like a middle of the water column type line. Yeah, it's absolutely great. It's pretty expensive though. I think it's the most expensive out of all three fishing lines. This entire spool right here, this is 250 yards, cost me $14.99, also $15 for the spool. And this spool here cost me $3, and this is 700 yards of monofilament. So very, very expensive for fluorocarbon, but it has some really good advantages, and it is worth it. So yeah. Trying to think of anything else. I probably should have wrote my notes down before making this stream. Another thing, fluorocarbon is a lot thinner than monofilament. So you can get a higher pound test in a line that is a lot thinner than traditional monofilament. Yeah, fluorocarbon is great for crankbaits, chatterbaits, all those moving baits. It's absolutely amazing for that. Would not throw topwater with fluorocarbon because, again, it sinks. You can throw bottom baits with it. I personally prefer braid, and I'll get into that in a second. But yeah, fluorocarbon's a good advantage from monofilament and braid if you're fishing around things that might chew up your line, like docks, rocks, stick-ups, laydowns, all that good stuff. It's really, really great. One thing with fluorocarbon that you might want to be careful of, you might see a lot of anglers spit on their knots before they tighten them down. That is because fluorocarbon is notorious for slipping with knots. Because it's a certain property with fluorocarbon, I'm not really sure what it is. I think it's because it's more hard and tangly than mono, but it doesn't like to tighten down on knots unless they're lubricated. So I wouldn't trust any knot that you tie with fluorocarbon without lubricating your knots first. But anyway, yeah, it's a great line with great properties, and it will catch you fish. And if you are fishing with just monofilament because you're cheap, you can do that. You can get away with it, but it's not going to be the best thing for you. If you want to spend a little bit more money and get some fluorocarbon, I 100% recommend that. I feel like it's worth the money. Even though it's like 2/3 more of the price of mono, it is very, very, the properties are worth it. The last line that I'm going to discuss with you guys is braided line. And braided line is a lot different than monofilament and fluorocarbon in a lot of ways. Number one, braid has zero stretch. So you cannot stretch braid. Like I'm trying to stretch this. This is my favorite braid to use. This is a Spider Wire Easy braid. And this is the 50 pound. Very, very sleek line. Yeah, zero stretch on braid. So if you're let's say you're fishing for example, if you're fishing a jig and you really want to drive that hook home because of that weed guard, then braid's going to help you with that because it doesn't have any stretch to it. A lot of times, I know a lot of people like to spool up their rods with all braid and use fluorocarbon leaders. I'm guilty of that. I don't have every one of my rods filled up with braid because I also like fluorocarbon and mono as well in like in certain situations. I like to alternate all three lines throughout my arsenal. But if you're fishing, for example, if you tie on a crankbait to this line and you're throwing it out there, you're fishing a lipless crankbait and you're reeling in that lipless crankbait and you get a bite on that cast and you go and set the hook like you would with fluorocarbon or monofilament, you are going to absolutely rip those hooks out of those fish's mouth almost every single time because of the no stretch factor of this. There is no give with braid. So it's not a very forgiving line. Braid is also great for topwater fishing because braid floats. It does not sink. It is very, very hard to get braid to sink unless you have a bait that is going to make it sink. So it is a 100% floating line. Another thing to keep in mind is that braid is the thinnest line that you can buy on the market today. This is 50-pound braid, and it only has the diameter of like, I don't know, 10-pound monofilament. So it's very, very thin. That's a big advantage. Another good thing about braid is that it's cost efficient. So this one spool of braid right here, I can spool up a reel and a half with my braid. What's up? I saw you on the screen, bro.
I'm sorry, I saw myself walk by and I was like, no way, I can get in there.
You can be on it if you want. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit. This is
You
my
know-
roommate.
I'm his roommate. I'm a freaking piece of shit, to be honest. But, anyways, I love fishing too, so.
You got
heck
anything
yeah.
to say about fishing
Oh shit,
line?
you're live?
Yeah.
Oh fuck, yo, dude, check that out.
You got anything to say about fishing line?
Fishing line, it definitely matters on how thin, like he was saying. It matters how thin your fishing line is. Because if that fishing line ain't fucking... it's bad, okay?
Yeah, what
you
you
need to
said.
have thinner line, otherwise, you know, the thicker the
Most
line you
fish are
have...
gonna see it.
The thicker the line, the more likely they're gonna see it. And I don't know if you're like me and you like a little bit heavier line, but if you're like me, you can always make that last little bit of line for about 10 feet, really thin line, and then the rest of it thick. And then you use a freaking weight to toss that shit out there.
Also, another thing. Have you ever felt fishing line that feels like this?
Whoa, that shit's thick. Holy fuck.
It's a 50-pound test. You can hold 50 pounds of force with that.
Damn, that's some good fucking... This right here, this shit, you could use that for ocean fishing.
Okay, last thing I gotta ask you.
Yes.
Stretch that and see if you can stretch that. It's very hard to stretch, right?
Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, now try this. Now try and stretch that.
It's
Tell me
gonna
how
break,
much easier
isn't
that
it?
is. You can feel the stretch in there, though, right?
Yeah. Holy
Yeah.
fuck.
So that just shows you guys, that's a quick test. That shows you like how much stretchier monofilament is than braided line. Just to
Hell
show you
yeah.
guys. But yeah, this is my roommate. I'm surprised he hasn't been on my channel yet. So say hi to my 189 subscribers.
Hey guys.
Yep. Yeah, he's
This will
pretty
get
cool.
posted after all.
Yeah, it's
Hell
live
yeah.
right now. People can see it.
That's cool as shit. Hey guys.
My roommate's a little crazy.
I'm a little bit crazy and I'm a little bit out there. I just got off work, but hey, Friday I gotta go to my hearing.
Okay.
And then afterwards I'll be free. Do you want to fish Friday afternoon? Because it's supposed to be
You got a
good
fishing
weather.
license?
I can get one.
Get one then.
I've got the cash for it.
Bro, dude, I will-
See, here's the thing. My fishing license might not be expired yet.
Bro, I'll put a GoPro on him and I will take him fishing.
I got my own GoPro. You just
Yeah,
gotta
I just
charge
gave him
the
a
battery for
GoPro,
me.
so I will take him fishing. And if you guys want to see that in a video, let me know.
Watch him outfish my ass, and watch me at least toss the line in once without a freaking.
How to
single
get
piece of-
snagged. Hey
Dude,
guys, how
I
to
will-
get snagged.
No, I will get snagged. I'm pretty good at not getting snagged.
Yeah.
I'll probably get snagged at least 2 or 3
Oh yeah,
times.
by the way,
But
you know what a bait caster is, right?
Yeah.
You know how to cast one?
You know
Yeah.
what sucks?
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna at least toss that line out at least once without a single piece of bait on it, and then I'll feel stupid when I realize, oh, that's why I didn't catch a fish.
Yeah, he'll put on like a plastic worm and forget to put on a hook or something. And be
Yeah.
like, oh wait, no wonder I'm missing all these bass. I ain't got a hook on here.
Although if we go fishing, I am buying regular worms if I can get a hold of them.
Well, no shit, Dom.
Because
Yeah,
I love
bro.
that shit. I love fishing classical. If I can, I'll
Yeah.
get my mom to get some of that stinky bait, because she still has like 3 bottles of
I
it.
got bags of it.
She's got, oh, okay, that works.
Anyway, yeah, that's my roommate.
I'm a dumbass.
But anyway, if you guys want to see a video where I take him out fishing, definitely comment below, ask me that, and we will take him out fishing.
And guess how small the fish is going to be that I catch, because I guarantee it's going to be a one slow-ass day, but it's going to be okay. Oh,
All right,
shit,
guys,
you're going to
well,
you're gonna have to censor out my language.
Live streams are uncensored.
Oh, well, I apologize for my language,
By the
because
way,
I
guys,
should
yeah,
be
that
more
is a
respectful.
disclaimer. Live streams are uncensored, but my phone's gonna die soon, so I gotta wrap this up. But anyway, yeah, braided line is the thinnest line you can get. It's not as expensive as fluorocarbon, but it's also more expensive than monofilament, so that's something to keep in mind. And one last thing I want to talk about with braid is leaders. I love braid to a fluorocarbon leader. The reason why is because that fluorocarbon
Check
leader
out
adds
Cooper's fishing channel.
my
I'll
YouTube
post it.
channel, bitch. Anyway,
Check out Cooper's
Anyway, yeah, I like using a fluorocarbon leader on these on braided line tied with an Alberto knot. If you guys want to see how to tie that knot, I will show you in a later stream. But yeah, monofilament, braid,
What's the name?
fluorocarbon, BassKicker fishing. I'll type it in for you in a minute. But yeah, guys, that's going to conclude this stream. Definitely more instructional streams to come. That's my roommate. I'm going to take him fishing. If you guys want to see a video where I take my roommate fishing, then definitely let me know. And yeah, we're going to call this good. Signing out right here.
See you guys.
And talk to you guys later. Peace.